Right now, as you're watching this video, there's a massive star in the sky that could explode at literally any moment. And here's the wild part. When it does, it'll be so bright that you'll be able to see it during the day, for weeks. But wait, it gets crazier. This star might have already exploded, like hundreds of years ago. We just don't know it yet. In the year 1006, people across the world witnessed something absolutely terrifying. A new star appeared in the sky, so bright that it cast shadows at night. Egyptian astronomers said it was as bright as a crescent moon. Chinese records claim it was visible even during daylight hours. For weeks, this mysterious light dominated the night sky, and then it slowly faded away. What they witnessed was a supernova, one of the most energetic events in the entire universe. And the star we're about to talk about, scientists say it could create a light show even more spectacular than that. The star's name is Betelgeuse, and yes, like the movie character. In fact, that's exactly where the name came from. But this isn't fiction. This is a cosmic time bomb, and astronomers are literally taking bets on when it's going to blow. So buckle up, because we're about to explore the most anticipated explosion in human history, one that might happen tomorrow, or might have already happened centuries ago, and we'd have no idea until the light reaches us. Let's dive in. Before we get into the science, let's address the elephant in the room, or should we say the Beetlejuice in the room. The name Betelgeuse is one of the most hilariously butchered words in astronomy. Scientists can't even agree on how to pronounce it. Some say Betelgeuse, others go with Betelgeuse, and then there are the rebels who just fully commit and call it Beetlejuice. And speaking of Beetlejuice, remember that 1988 movie, the Tim Burton classic? Well, here's a fun fact. The movie was originally supposed to be named after this exact star. The proof? Look at any scene where they show the character's name written down. It's spelled Betelgeuse, the same as the star. But the studio got cold feet. They thought audiences wouldn't be able to pronounce it, so they changed it to Beetlejuice for marketing purposes, which honestly makes sense. If saying it once is hard, imagine saying it 3 times to summon a dead guy. But where does this tongue twister of a name even come from? Hold on to your hats, because this gets complicated. The name comes from Arabic, specifically from the phrase Yad al-Jawza, which translates to the hand of Jawza. But here's where it gets weird. Betelgeuse isn't located in a hand at all. It's in the shoulder of the constellation Orion. So what happened? Well, ancient Arabic astronomers had their own constellation system. Al-Jawza was originally a small group of stars that Brazilians know as the Three Marys, that form Orion's belt. Over time, this constellation grew to include an entire human figure: head, torso, legs, and hands. Then, when Arab scholars encountered Greek astronomy and translated Ptolemy's legendary Almagest from 150 AD, things got mixed up. The Greeks had their own warrior constellation in the same position, Orion. So the hand of Jawza became the hand of Orion. But the translation chaos didn't stop there. When medieval scholars tried to transliterate Yad al-Jawza from Arabic to Latin, someone made a critical mistake. They confused the Arabic letter Ya with the letter Ba, which look almost identical except for some dots. So Yad became Bad. Over centuries of linguistic telephone, Bad al-Jawza slowly transformed into Bedau-Jawza, then Betelgeuse, and eventually Beetlejuice. If all this seems unnecessarily complicated, don't worry. Betelgeuse also has a scientific name, Alpha Orionis. Much simpler. But why Alpha if it's not even the brightest star in Orion? That honor goes to Rigel. Well, that's where things get really interesting, because Betelgeuse has a secret.
In 1836, astronomer John Herschel made a groundbreaking discovery. Betelgeuse's brightness wasn't constant. It was changing, dimming and brightening in a cosmic pulse that no one had documented before. And here's the kicker. Herschel's findings confirmed oral traditions from indigenous Australians who had observed these same variations more than 1,000 years earlier. Ancient observers knew something was strange about this star long before modern science caught up. Herschel revealed his findings to the Royal Astronomical Society on January 10, 1840. Later, in his 1849 book, Outlines of Astronomy, he estimated that Betelgeuse's apparent brightness varied between magnitude 1.2 and 1.0. Today, we know the variation is even more dramatic, ranging from 1.6 to 0.0 on the magnitude scale. Wait, those numbers seem backwards, right? That's because the magnitude scale is logarithmic and inverted. Lower numbers mean brighter light. So when Betelgeuse hits 0.0, it's actually brighter than Rigel at its peak, even though Rigel is usually the constellation's showstopper. But why does Betelgeuse pulse like a cosmic heartbeat? Scientists believe it's caused by a process called pulsation. The star's outer layers are literally expanding and contracting, causing it to brighten and dim in a cycle that typically lasts about 423 days. But that's not the only cycle. There's also a longer one that stretches around 5 years. And if that wasn't complex enough, there's another process at play: convection. Imagine a pot of boiling water. Hot bubbles form at the bottom and rise to the surface, while cooler liquid sinks. The same thing happens inside Betelgeuse, except these bubbles are massive columns of superheated plasma larger than entire planets. This convection is far more intense in Betelgeuse than in our Sun because of one simple reason: size. Betelgeuse is approximately 700 times larger in diameter than our Sun. Let that sink in. If you replaced our Sun with Betelgeuse, it would swallow Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and extend past the asteroid belt. We'd be living inside the star. Despite being 700 times larger, Betelgeuse only has about 15 times the Sun's mass. This makes it what astronomers call a red supergiant, a bloated dying star in its final evolutionary stages. And here's something eerie. Betelgeuse is changing color. Fast. Ptolemy observed it as orange around 150 AD. Chinese astronomers described it as yellow just 300 years before that. But today, it's distinctly red. In astronomical terms, this color shift is happening at breakneck speed. A 2022 study showed Betelgeuse moving to the right on the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram, a chart that tracks a star's temperature and luminosity to determine its life stage. This rightward drift is the stellar equivalent of a terminal diagnosis. Here's what really blows minds. Our Sun is about 5 billion years old and roughly halfway through its life. Betelgeuse only 10 million years old, and it's already approaching death. How is this possible? The answer is brutal. Bigger stars burn out faster, much faster. Stars shine by fusing hydrogen in their cores, creating outward pressure that fights against gravity, trying to crush them inward. It's a cosmic tug-of-war. For massive stars like Betelgeuse, the gravitational pressure is so intense that they have to burn their fuel at an astronomical rate just to stay inflated. They're burning bright and dying young. Betelgeuse is approximately 700 light-years away from Earth. That's relatively close in cosmic terms. Remember that number because it's going to matter later. The star's variable brightness, rapid color change, and advanced age all point to one conclusion: Betelgeuse is approaching the end. And when massive stars die, they don't go quietly. They explode. In late 2019, something extraordinary happened. Something that made astronomers around the world sit up and pay attention. Betelgeuse started dimming, dramatically. Within just a few months, the star's brightness dropped by roughly 60% in an event now known as the Great Dimming. This wasn't part of its normal cycle. This was unprecedented. Some scientists wondered if they were witnessing the beginning of the end. Was Betelgeuse entering a pre-supernova phase? The astronomy community erupted with speculation. Twitter threads went viral, news outlets covered it. Because if Betelgeuse was about to blow, it would be the astronomical event of the millennium. And here's where things get really interesting. Astronomers are literally betting on when it will happen. The American Association of Variable Star Observers runs a website where you can place your bet on the date Betelgeuse will go supernova. It's like a cosmic betting pool.
There's even a system called the Supernova Early Warning System that detects neutrinos released moments before a supernova's light reaches us. Because yes, scientists are that eager to catch this explosion. But back to 2019. The great dimming continued into early 2020. Betelgeuse got dimmer and dimmer. Astronomers held their breath. And then, in April 2020, it started brightening again. The star returned to normal. What happened? The truth wasn't revealed until 2021. By analyzing data from multiple observatories, including NASA's Hubble Space Telescope, scientists discovered something mind-blowing. Betelgeuse had literally ejected a chunk of its own surface into space. This wasn't a normal stellar process. The sun occasionally burps out material in coronal mass ejections, sure. But what Betelgeuse did was on an entirely different scale. The star expelled 400 billion times more mass than a typical solar ejection. The chunk it released would weigh several moons. Once in space, this material cooled and formed a massive dust cloud that temporarily blocked Betelgeuse's light. Mystery solved. But here's what makes this even more fascinating. Scientists believe this massive ejection was caused by an enormous bubble of gas that erupted from deep within the star, helped along by Betelgeuse's normal 400-day pulsation cycle. The convection we talked about earlier, imagine that process going haywire. Think of it like boiling water. Tiny bubbles form at the bottom of the pot, rise, grow larger, and pop at the surface. Now imagine that pot is the size of our solar system, and those bubbles can eject moon-sized chunks of matter into space. The exact mechanism behind this unprecedented event is still unknown. What could cause such a violent eruption? Is it a sign that Betelgeuse is closer to exploding than we thought? Adding to the mystery, in 2023, Betelgeuse did something equally strange. It got brighter, much brighter. Over 140% of its normal luminosity. The star seemed to be throwing a tantrum, swinging wildly between extremes. Recent research has even investigated whether these brightness changes could be caused by a companion star. Perhaps Betelgeuse swallowed another star at some point in its past, or maybe there's a hidden companion still orbiting it that influences its behavior. But regardless of what's causing these fluctuations, one thing remains clear. Betelgeuse is in its final act. Different models predict different timelines. Some say it could explode in tens of thousands of years. Others suggest it might last another million years. But almost everyone agrees this star has passed the halfway point of its life and is in an advanced stage of evolution. The death of a star involves the fusion of progressively heavier elements, hydrogen, then helium, then carbon and oxygen. Current models suggest Betelgeuse exhausted its hydrogen fuel long ago and is now fusing helium in its core, possibly beginning to fuse carbon. Knowing exactly which elements are being fused and measuring Betelgeuse's precise radius could be the key to predicting when it will die. But here's the question that keeps everyone up at night. What will happen to Earth when Betelgeuse finally goes supernova?
Here's a mind-bending thought. What if Betelgeuse is already dead? Right now, as you look up at the night sky, you might be seeing the ghost of a star that exploded centuries ago. Because light takes time to travel, and Betelgeuse is 500 to 650 light years away. Every time we look at the sky, we're looking into the past. The sun's light takes 8 minutes to reach us. If Betelgeuse exploded right now, at this exact moment, we wouldn't know for hundreds of years. Maybe Betelgeuse died when the Byzantine Empire fell in 1453, and we just haven't received the news yet. But when that light finally reaches us, oh, it's going to be spectacular. The key factor determining the impact on Earth is distance. A supernova can be visible from Earth without being deadly if it's at least a few hundred light years away. But if a supernova occurred within 30 to 50 light years, it could cause serious damage to life on our planet. Fortunately, Betelgeuse is comfortably outside the danger zone. When it explodes, we'll get one hell of a light show, but we'll be perfectly safe. And what a light show it will be!
Betelgeuse will become, by far, the brightest star in the night sky, not counting the sun. But it's nighttime, so the sun doesn't count anyway. According to current estimates, the supernova could be as bright as a full moon. You could read a book by its light. It would be visible during the day, appearing as a bright dot in the blue sky. And the best part? You won't miss it. This event will last for days, possibly weeks. The star will blaze with incredible intensity, slowly dimming over time until all that remains is a supernova remnant, a cloud of gas and stellar material scattered across space, marking the end of a star that once dominated our night sky. Future generations will study these remains, just as we study the remnants of that 1006 supernova today. But the big question is, will we be alive to see it? Maybe. The concept of soon is weird in astronomy. As far as we know, Betelgeuse is at the end of its life, but all we can do is keep monitoring it while we go about our lives. The star could explode tomorrow, or in 100,000 years. We simply don't know. Somewhere out there, light might already be racing towards us, carrying the news of Betelgeuse's death. In a few hundred years, that light will arrive. The sky will brighten. Shadows will form at night. People will look up and wonder, just as they did in 1006. Or maybe Betelgeuse has another 1,000,000 years left. Maybe our great-great-great-grandchildren will still be making videos about the star that's about to explode. The universe keeps its secrets. So here's a challenge. If you had to guess, when do you think Betelgeuse will go supernova? Drop a date or year in the comments. Let's see who gets closest. If we're still around when it happens, we'll check back. And if we're not, well, hello to everyone from the future watching this. We hope someone in the comments got it right. Because when Betelgeuse finally dies, it's going to be the greatest fireworks show in human history. And somewhere, right now, the clock is ticking. We just don't know if we have seconds left or millennia.